I'm Captain Kyle Smith, and this week I sat down for a morning meeting with San Diego Fire Engineer Mark Tighe. Mark and I came on the department together, and he shares his journey from struggling to make ends meet to where he is today, having just put his oldest son through college. His focus, determination, and drive has helped him get to this point, and I'm sure he'll continue down the path in the future. Hope you guys enjoy.
All right, hey Mark, welcome to the bullpen. Thanks for meeting me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kyle. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, really excited to get you on here. We go way back. We've been knowing each other ever since we joined the fire department. You look different to me looking at you here today. What's going on with the gray beard there?
Yeah, I'm getting the Papa Smurf beard going today. So I've been on IL for the past month. Actually got cleared today to go back to work next week on the 24th. So the beard will be coming off next week. So it's a 1 month long process. So well, this is about the only thing I can have. Christy won't let me have a mustache, so.
Well, yeah, we got October. We have the mustache contest coming up in October. You got to keep it at least until then.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how things go. But that's I'm gonna tell you right now, it's definitely outside the grooming standards.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Thanks, Cap.
You're wrong. All right on. Well, hey, you ready to get this thing going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, cool. Well, let's get your first alarm going. You will know that a first alarm assignment on the San Diego Fire Department consists of 4 engines and a truck, but here at the FIREhouse, I'll ask you 4 questions. You give us 1 piece of advice. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, here you go. You're going to be first in on your first alarm, and you know when you're first in, you got to give a size up, and that's who you are, where you work, and how long you've been doing it.
Okay, my name is Mark Tighe. I've been on the San Diego Fire Department for 14 years. Currently, I'm at Station 12 on B Division, and I came on in the 67th Academy, and you're kind of familiar with that one, aren't you?
Hey, 67, now or never.
Right.
They say, Mark, that the 67th was the best academy that's ever come through the San Diego Fire Department.
I think so too. I mean, I know a lot of people beg to differ, but I meant you would be a good judge since how you're down at the academy every day, so you know what's coming through now.
Well, I can tell you this without any shadow of a doubt: the 67th is certainly further along than the 90th.
Oh, I guaranteed.
That's right. You know, I had Zeke Sanchez on here a few weeks ago, and he said that he thought maybe the 21st Academy was the best of all time, which included Michael McCormick, who was also on the show, but then also the former San Diego Fire Chief, Javier Maynard. So maybe between the 67th and the 21st, there might be some area of debate, but we'll just leave it at that. How about that?
Well, I'm sure that there were great guys and there's some great names there, but you know, even Mike Tyson fell at one time to better fighters.
Well, that's true too. Right on. So for those listening that don't know, Station 12 is where I worked as well. It's a great firehouse. It's a double house, so it's got an engine and a truck, and it's an extremely busy fire station. So on top of you coming through on the best academy, you also work at the best firehouse, which is an exciting thing. You know, going back till from our days back in the academy, I remember having conversations with you about some of the struggles that you went through. You know, I remember the first day I met you, it was sort of like 3 days before the academy was supposed to start, and we were there down at NTC trying to get everything ready, and the nerves were going heavy and everything. And I just remember talking to you like, man, I would feel very underprepared with only a 3-day notice. How did you deal with that?
It was tough. Luckily, my wife has been very supportive through the whole thing, and she's actually the driving force behind me working towards what I always wanted to do. But it was tough. I know, I'm not the only guy that ever went through the academy with 3 kids, but we had a 6-month-old and 2 other boys. Trying to live in San Diego. I just started a brand new job that week. I found out I was in that academy. So it was with Northrop Grumman. I started that Monday. Tuesday, I went to work, went to lunch, came back, and there was a message on my answer machine on my desk at work, and it was Chief Hicks, who was in charge of hiring and our background checks during that time, letting me know that I've been bumped up from the 68th to the 67th, and I started Saturday. And in fact, I asked him if I could defer to the next academy, and he pretty much said, yeah, it's now or never, which is pretty much was our slogan for our academy. And I said, well, looks like I'll see you Saturday, Chief. And uh, that afternoon, I put my 4 days notice that I was leaving. Luckily, the guy who actually hired me for that job, his uncle was a battalion chief in Boston, so he thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, but it was always good because I always left on good terms, and they always said if it didn't work out, I can come back. But I don't think it's still open 14 years later, so which is good.
Yeah, no, hopefully they filled that position. And I can say wholeheartedly that the 68th Academy's loss was certainly our gain. What,
Definitely.
I do remember having conversations with you about, some of the struggles that you went through and that we were going through ourselves as new parents. But it must have
Right.
been pretty hard trying to provide for a family of 5 going through on a recruit wage.
Definitely. One thing though is we were kind of used to struggling because I joined the Navy right out of high school. I was 19 years old. My wife and I got married when we were 21 and 20 years old. Then we had Jacob, which today is his birthday. We had Jacob when we were 23, 24 years old, and we're just always, we always got paid the first and the 15th, and we just made it through. Christy and I decided together that she would stay home with the kids, which to this day I think was for our family was a really good decision because our kids really benefit from it, and they're really happy that have mom at home now. But it was a struggle. I remember times when I needed gas to go to the academy, and I was looking through the couch. Any change that may have fell out of my pocket or my wife's pocket in there, and I pulled it out. I remember going in, throwing $2 real quick, and making it down to the academy. So it was really tough during that time frame. But I knew going through it, and my wife as well knew that there was an end goal in it, and we just needed to be patient.
God, that's amazing, man. I don't think I've ever heard that story. And happy birthday to Jake. How old is Jake now?
He's 23. So you're old when your son is as old as you were when you had him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's the same age as you were when you had him. That has to be a surreal feeling, because I'm pretty sure you felt at that time when you were his age that you were probably ready to have a family, start a family. But maybe looking at him today, you probably look at him like he's nowhere close to being ready.
Well, I guarantee you, I was not ready at all. And when we found out that we were pregnant, we were like, oh, deers in headlights. Like, what the heck are we going to be doing? So yeah, it was a tough. It was tough.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But like you're saying, you guys figured out a way to make ends meet, be frugal, and grind through some hard times. And it's certainly paid off. And as somebody from the outside looking in, you guys are the epitome of sort of the American success story, where you said you're struggling paycheck to paycheck, digging through the couches to find gas money, to now sitting here all these years later, having just put your oldest son through college. I mean, that has to feel very good.
It does. It feels good. It feels like you really accomplished something. We appreciate everything that's, both of us appreciate the fire service, the job that we've been on. As getting older and coming on maybe a little older and having a little job experience before this and then going through those struggles, I appreciate my work. I appreciate going into work in the morning. I appreciate the training that we have to do. I appreciate, the captains that I work under, the chiefs. I just feel that it's more appreciative. I really love my job. And I'm glad I was able to go to it. And especially through the times right now, we've been very fortunate, not being laid off or, really it's slowed down, but we still were able to go to work.
Yeah, God, what a perfect point right there, Mark, that it's a privilege to have this job, not only because this is an amazing career, right? I was talking to Matt Praisner the other day on the show, and I was saying, we're so privileged to have this job because we've forged all these great relationships. At one point, we were talking about being down at the pier surfing together in the morning before work, and then 2 hours later going to a fire together. It's that sort of camaraderie that we have. But then on the other side of that, when you see a pandemic like we're in now, or back when we were first coming on with the crash of 2008 and 2009, how so many of our friends and people that we knew were getting laid off or having real financial struggles, we kind of, we did, not that we didn't, but we were never really nervous about losing our jobs. We could always kind of rely on that steady income. And
Right.
that's a really good place to start building from.
Definitely.
If you're confident that you're going to have that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks, you can start trying to build off of that. And that's a really important thing for us. We're never going to get rich doing this job, but at a minimum, we can be confident that that paycheck's coming in. So I do feel really grateful for that.
Right. And I think one thing what people got to understand too, you got to be patient. I mean, things aren't going to happen overnight. And it's tough, especially in the society we're in today where, we get information like that right off the bat and stuff happens really quick, or something we want, we're able to go out and get it. But, I truly think financial freedom and financial success really revolves around being patient and trusting the process or plan that you put in place for yourself.
No, that's perfectly well said. Speaking of that, when you were coming on, did you have any financial education? Did you have any teachers or mentors as it related to your finances when you were coming on the job?
I had zero experience finances. I came from a family where we pretty much we lived paycheck to paycheck. The big slogan in our family was, we wanted something, but every time we'd be, oh, maybe next year. Well, it's like, now it's like when I hear someone say that, it's like I cringe because it's such a bad feeling, because maybe next year means you're never going to get it. So that going through that, and then joining the Navy, getting paid, the 1st and 15th, and going through that and struggling the way we did. And I think one thing that I didn't do is I didn't really push myself to really go out and do the research or gain the knowledge on finances. I just wanted to keep up with my friends who were going drinking that Friday, Saturday night, or trying to buy that new car or the new shirt, or have some new clothes. I didn't really know. I could just like, hey, you know what? I should just stay in, save my money a little bit. I got the TV or whatever, or go to the gym and exercise a little bit more. That's the stuff I didn't do and I should have done. But with that being said, since I've been on the job, this job is so diverse in experience of different, not just the fire service, but diverse in what is it? Personal finance, real estate. Some guys like Joe Panoglio was a guy I always talked to about parenting. But everything didn't always work out perfectly. But you take little tidbits from everybody and you put it in yourself. So the last few years, I would say I've been really gaining a lot of experience financially through learning from other people on the job, and whoever they refer me to off the job, I usually go pick their ear.
That's awesome. What switched for you? You said you went from, living paycheck to paycheck, not or worrying about what the guys are doing on Friday, Saturday night, or trying to buy the new car or TV or whatever. What switched for you? What was it that finally clicked where you were able to start gaining some traction and start moving down the path?
I think it was the first time I made $100,000 on the job. And I was sitting there looking at it. I'm like, wow, I just made $100,000 and I have absolutely nothing to show for it. And, I'm not talking about, big trucks with big tires or boats or, buying real estate somewhere else. It's like, I still was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was very disappointed in myself. In fact, what really clicked is I ran into Aaron Bothwell at 20s one day, and we were just talking, and I think you had him on one of your shows, and he does Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and I read that book, and it opened up my eyes to show how easy it is to get back on track. And I know a lot of people don't agree with everything he does, but especially the paying off the bills, the debt snowball, is so easy to do and follow. That's what worked for us, and we started using that. And from not being able to make all our bills to making our bills, and to now we have money left over after to pay all our bills, and it's such a great feeling. I know sometimes we get disappointed, but we always go back and say, you remember the time where we didn't even have enough to make our bills? Now we just appreciate that process and know it's going to take a little longer than overnight.
Oh God, I just love that, dude. I'm sitting here scribbling all these notes. I just absolutely love the the thing about appreciating what you have, like what is enough, right? We have enough. And people listening hear Mark say he made $100,000, and that's when he learned that he had enough and he could start, blasting off from there. But people that are listening to this that maybe don't live in California hear that firefighters are making $100,000. They might think that's an outrageous amount, but in reality, we live in a very high cost of living part of the world. And so even though $100,000 is a lot, and you can definitely make it happen with $100,000, it may not really, that $100,000 here doesn't go as far as it would other places in the country. So I want people to understand that. But yeah, Aaron, I had Aaron on here a few weeks ago, and I'll link to his show here in the I'll leave a card here. But that the piece about the debt snowball, and then also the emergency fund that they talk about all the time with Dave Ramsey, is really important. Now for us, Dave Ramsey talks about starting a 3 to 6 months of your emergency fund, which will cover all expenses in case something happens. Like for you, if you're injured and you can't work and you're relying on that pay every month, and it suddenly vanishes, well, you better have something in reserve to help cover the bills. Now, with that being said, for us, like we were talking about before, we're not necessarily worried about being laid off and having our income slashed down to zero. But, if we get a long-term disability sort of thing or something, we have to have that little bit of cushion in reserve. And so that's where Dave Ramsey and I are 100% in agreement. But I think it's one thing to be able to work hard at our job, save up money, pay off all of our consumer debt, right? Credit card debt and other high interest debt. But for you specifically, Mark, you have some side hustles going where you're kind of supplementing your income with work outside the job. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I just started repping a coffee company that's firefighter owned. A couple of firefighters up in the Bay Area. One, his name, he works for Folsom, and the other guy works for Vacaville. And another buddy of theirs who is a business partner, he graduated with a business degree. They started a coffee company called Muertos Coffee Company. And they are a firefighter owned and operated company, and they're spreading their word around. And their big mission is to help firefighters help firefighters. And pretty much every time they make a sale, 5% of that sale, it doesn't matter if it's offline or, not offline, but online or in the firehouse, 5% of whatever the proceeds they make goes to a foundation. And some of the foundations they work with currently throughout California is the LA Fire Department, Widows and Orphans Foundation, Cal Fire Benevolent Foundation, and many others. And they're currently working with the National Fallen Firefighters Association too, to help them out to get them some revenue. So they're really big in California right now. I'm personally a rep right now. And if anybody's interested in trying out their coffee, they can go to muertoscoffeecompany.com and put in my code, which is SDFD25 for a 15% discount. And then at the end, when they start paying, they'll be able to choose another 5% will go to a foundation of their choosing. So it's a really good coffee. It's comparable to the others. I know a lot of people get coffees, from Costco and other local coffee vendors, but they're really good coffee. They're about $6.50 a pound, which is pretty inexpensive for quality coffee. So also, if anybody's interested, I'm on Instagram, so hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, and then I'll shoot you towards their website.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'll link all that stuff in the show notes. And it's amazing that you have an outfit that is sort of designed by us for us, producing a great product, but also at a price point that's comparable to all the other outfits. But then also they're giving back. So no, that sounds like a great deal.
Right.
No, love that. Well, I'll link to all that stuff in the show notes with that 15% off code. I'm sure that's like catnip for us, right? Anytime we can get a little discount, we're all over it. So I would expect your phone to be ringing. Hey, looking back, Mark,
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back, we've all made mistakes as it relates to our personal finance. We've all done stupid things that we wish we could have back. And while we can't change the past, we can start right here and move forward in the future. And is there something that you did in the past that you wish you could have back?
I would go back. My dad passed away when he was 47 years old. And I remember when I joined the Navy at 19 and going through and being in the barracks room, and every Saturday morning, without fail, between 7 and 7:30, my dad would call, and we would talk, and I'd be pissed because a young guy Saturday morning, what am I doing up at 7 a.m.? But we'd have a great conversation, and his main thing was do yourself a favor. I knew something was coming after he would say that. It's like that's the big running joke. Like, do yourself a favor between me and my brothers. But one of the things he said to do was to contribute to my TSP more, which is a military version or government version of like a 401k. It's a little different than the normal 401k. He said to put as much in there as you could because I'm young. Compound interest. I didn't even know what that was. But I wish I listened to him more as far as investing early because I really didn't have that many bills. And I really didn't have to pay anything because the military provided, I lived in the barracks. I got food at the galley. There's no reason why I shouldn't have put more money away. So that's one thing I regret not doing is not listening to my dad and putting more money away at an early age.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing the Dave Ramsey thing on compound interest.
Yeah.
I was like, man, huge mistake.
No, absolutely. And part of the reason the Firehouse exists is so that we can pass down that information to the next generation of people coming up behind us because of exactly what you're saying, man, is that the power of compounding interest it's staggering until you see it on paper. You see a chart, and I'll link to a compound interest calculator that one of our members actually created. That you see that over time, it's just mind boggling where if you start when you're in your 20s, like how you were, the amount you have to put in to have a really solid nest egg is like nothing compared to if you start 10 years later or 20 years later. You can never catch up. And I don't think people really realize that, but I think that's great. And I think part of our job now as people that have been around the fire service for a while is helping to bring up the next generation and telling them, look, while we don't have a TSP, we do have a 401k option. We have a deferred comp option. We have other ways of supplementing our income, whether it's a side hustle, selling coffee or anything else. Part of the message has to be that we are in charge of this thing. It's not going to be enough to rely on the city to provide us the sort of retirement that we all hope for and dream for. So I think your dad was absolutely right. Maybe you weren't ready to receive that information back then, but maybe your son Jake is ready to receive it from you now. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good thing now is that my wife and I are very open with our finances with our children, and we actually sit down with them and we'll open the books if they want to sit. We'll open the books and show them what we're doing. We'll share the silly mistakes we've made when coming through. And I think when you open yourself and you're vulnerable with your own children, that they open up and listen more, especially with finances. Have a conversation, not sit there and tell them what to do, but have a conversation on some of the reasons why you made certain decisions that you made back then and the decisions you are making now. And for my kids, they were more receptive to having a conversation than me telling them, hey, you need to do this, or saying, hey, do yourself a favor. So.
Yeah, God, what a great point. And that speaks to the fact that these kids are different generation than what we were. And you are a different generation than what your dad was used to. And while the message to you would have maybe worked for him, it didn't work for you. Maybe the message that is going to work for Jake is different than it's going to work for you. And if we can prevent those same mistakes and we can provide the information in a way that's digestible, in a way that they can then take action on, man, we're going to just set them up for so much success. I just love that, man. With that in mind, is there a specific resource that you're aware of that you would recommend to first responders, firefighters, police, or EMS that could help them get on the path towards financial independence or financial freedom?
What I did, I sat down and read Dave Ramsey's book, Financial Peace, and it was an eye opener for me. Just to see the mistakes I was making, especially read that debt snowball and setting up that emergency fund, and then also going back afterwards to where when you're done making those, paying off that consumer debt, you can go and start investing a little bit more. You can put more money away, which will be better for your future, especially young guys. are coming on the department now.
Yeah, that's perfect, man, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to try to start investing if, on the other hand, you have all this consumer debt that you're paying
Right.
17, 18, 19% on. It's hard to find that sort of return in the investment world. It's doable, but it's hard. So once you get all that debt paid off, then you can just start paying yourself and investing that money. That's perfect. So I'll link to that Dave Ramsey Financial Peace book. I've read it myself. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, just finally, what would, if you could, what would be one piece of advice you'd give your 25-year-old self looking back?
There's so much, so much to say, but I would definitely go in and tell myself to stop buying off of feeling and making myself feel good, to really sit back and, make better decisions as far as, do I really need that shirt, or did I really need, that to go out that night or whatever. But, really sit back and start making a plan for myself in the future, and realize that, hey, you need to be patient, trust the process of financial peace later on. And that's what I would tell myself at 25 years old, because, you're always working off the excitement of the moment, or you're making yourself feel good if you feel down. But the hard part is getting through the struggles, and once you come out there, the success at the end is so much better than that instant gratification you get from whatever you do at that time.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, man. That, they say the best things in life are not things, right? It's not about that. It's not about the accumulation of things. It's about experiences and trying to provide a nice life for you and your family. And yeah, that's just perfect, man. I think with that, you got knocked down on your first alarm, bud.
Awesome. Had a good time.
Hey, so I know you mentioned Muertos Coffee and that you're on social media. Do you mind, just, if people are looking to learn more about you, where could they find you on social media or elsewhere?
Okay. Well, my source of social media is Instagram. I'm at Mark Tighe, and also on Facebook, Mark Tighe, of course. And then also, if you are interested in Muertos Coffee, go ahead and send me a direct message. I'll send you the link to get you the 15% off of coffee in your first purchase, and all your following purchases after that. They have great shirts and hats too. So go ahead and go check them out, and I'll help you out too. So.
Awesome. Yeah, right on. That's perfect, man. We definitely appreciate that. One thing we didn't talk about, which I think has probably helped you guys along the way too, is your service to this country. You recently retired with 20 years in the Navy. Do I have that right?
Yes, 20 years and 8 days to be exact.
Oh man, that's awesome. So with that, you get the benefit of the healthcare option, right? So that's one benefit that you'll receive that must be sort of a relief in a way.
Right, it is. It's a little different because from active duty to the reserves. The reserves, when they retire, we really don't get our pension until we're age 60, or the full benefits like an active duty person retiring. So all that stuff will kick in when I turn 60, which a lot of people probably like, oh, I guess it's next year, huh, Mark?
Yeah, so I guess that's probably coming up, right?
Yeah, tomorrow, jerk.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, like my uncle says, man, it's better to continue getting older than to not.
That is true. I agree with that 100%.
Well, right on. Hey, Mark, I want to thank you for your service to this country, man. I want to thank you for your service to this city, your time here today, and the fun times we had in the greatest academy that's ever happened.
Oh, and I agree. And the feeling's mutual. And I truly appreciate you putting this on, Kyle. I think it's a great avenue, a great resource for everybody on the fire department to really sit down and really think about their own finances, especially at the morning meetings, when we could throw this on for 15, 20 minutes and then have a good discussion about it, because we all have our own self-responsibility to take care of ourselves when we retire. So we can't trust anybody else but ourselves.
Yeah, exactly, man. And if we can make it so that talking about money is not a taboo subject, we're here just trying to help each other out. They say money, politics, and religion, right? Those are off the table, but we
right.
we have to use these things to help us in the long term. So yeah, if you can put this show on, or if you can just learn a little bit about it and then bring it to the morning meeting at the fire station, I think we'll all be better for it long term. So
I agree 100%.
Right on. All right, buddy. Well, again, thanks for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. Talk to you later.
All right, bye. All right, thanks again to Mark for meeting me here in the bullpen. His story about struggling in the academy to seeing where he is now is really what the American dream is all about. If you'd like to learn more about him, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram at Mark Tighe. That's Tighe. And be sure to check him out at muertoscoffeeco.com as well, and use the checkout code SDFD25 for 15% off your entire order. If you'd like to learn more about us, we're on Facebook at The FIREhouse. That's f.i.r.e.house. On Instagram, the _fire_house. On LinkedIn, The FIREhouse Investors, or any place you listen to podcasts. If you learned something today and you'd like to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe. But no matter what you do, take this information, go out there, and get some. Station F.